Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihare Jaya Radha Madhava Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihare Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhare Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhare Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravana Chahare Yamuna Tiravana Chahare Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihare Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhare Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravana Chahare Yamuna Tiravana Chahare Yamuna Tiravana Chahare Shri Harinam Sankirtan Yagya ki jai Divine Grace Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai ISKCON Guru Vrinda ki jai Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai Nitai Gaur Premanande.
Hare Krishna, we are very fortunate today to have Divine Association of His Holiness Bhakti Rasayana Sagara Swami Maharaj. I'll just give a brief introduction about Maharaj. His Holiness Bhakti Rasayana Sagara Swami Maharaj joined ISKCON in 1989 in former USSR, Russia, presently based in London, UK. He is initiated by His Holiness Indra Swami Maharaj and has done varieties of service in ISKCON, including being temple president in Czechoslovakia, Russia from 1995 to 2005. He is also regional secretary between 1996 to 2005. He is a GBC deputy for Russia between 1999 to 2003. He has also organized building a temple in Czechoslovakia, Russia. He holds a degree of Bhakti Shastri teacher and meditator. He has been lecturing as well as consulting social and business leaders more than 20 countries all over the 4 countries. In his lectures and training, he has been using both ancient sacred scriptures and development of Harvard Business Schools. Also, he has engaged in his cooperation between the confessions at the state and the United Nations level. Bhakti Rasayana Sagara Maharaj is also a spiritual leader of Russian office and International Business Forum, Artha. And also Maharaj got Sannyas Diksha in 2016 from His Holiness Indra Swami Maharaj. So we are very, very fortunate. We are very blessed to have your divine association. So let us thank Maharaj and welcome to Shri Radha Kunjwari Mandir by chanting one time Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Also, I want to take an opportunity to also introduce His Grace Madhav Prabhu. His Grace Madhav Prabhu is also one of the very senior disciple. He joined ISKCON 1990 He is double master degree in botany and philosophy. He is a disciple, very senior disciple of His Holiness Bhakti Swami Maharaj. He is a Varnashram Deputy Minister, teaching agriculture in India and abroad, all over ISKCON temples, more than 10 places. And also he preaches about the Vedic living, how to live Vedic way, and for even he teaches how to build the houses, replacing the cement and instead of that chuna, I don't know, and the mud. And also he teaches how organic farming, teaching all over the world ISKCON. So we are also very fortunate to have his association. Thank you for coming, Prabhuji. So let us welcome Prabhuji also by chanting one time Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna.
हिंदी ट्रांसलेशन ऑफ द क्लास, हिंदी का जो भाषांतर है वो कुटीर में हो रहा है वहाँ, तो जिनको हिंदी सुनना है वहाँ सुन सकते हैं.
Om Agyantimirandasya Gnandana Shalokaya Chakshurunmiritam Yana Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manabhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadam Mayam Dagati Svapadantikam Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Bhutaya Mahatprema, Purvibhur, Nirmaya, Kshatirmashu Purusha, Bhungte Gunan, Sadasa, Sadasatmakaya, Vankrishishta Bhagavan, Vacham Sime. Hare Krishna. I'm very honored to be in your wonderful temple and have all of your association. I'm the least qualified of all of you, so it's only with your blessings we can discuss exalted topic of Srimad Bhagavatam. Canto 7, Chapter 5, Prahlad Maharaj, the saintly son of Hiranyakashipu. And today we will be reading text 27. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So let's try to repeat Sanskrit. Santi asadavaloke. Santi asadavaloke. Durmaitras chadma veshinaha. Durmaitras chadma veshinaha. Tesham udet Jagham kale, Tesha mudetya kham kale, Roga pata kinamiva, Roga pata kinamiva, Santi asadavaloke, Durmatras chadma veshinaha, Tesham udet jagham kale, Roga pata kinamiva. Please.
patikinamiva Shanti asadhavo loke Durmaitras chadmaveshinaha Tesham mudetra agham kale Rogaha patikinamiva
Any ladies, please? Synonyms: Santi are he, indeed. Asadavaha, dishonest persons. Loke, within this world. Durmaitraha, cheating friends. Chadmaveshinaha, wearing false garbs. Tesham, of all of them. Udeti, arises. Come, the reaction of sinful life. Kale, in due course of time. Rogaha, disease. Patakinam, of sinful men. Eva, like. Translation purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. In due course of time, various types of diseases are manifest in those who are sinful. Similarly, in this world there are many deceptive friends in false garbs, but eventually, because of their false behavior, their actual enmity becomes manifest. Purport. Being anxious about the education of his boy Prahlad, Hiranyakashipu was very much dissatisfied when Prahlad began teaching about devotional service. Hiranyakashipu immediately regarded the teachers as his enemies in the garb of friends. In this verse, the words Roga Patakinam Iva refer to disease which is the most sinful and miserable of the conditions of material life, Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi. Disease is the symptom of the body of a sinful person. The Smriti Shastras say, Brahmaha Kshaya Rogi Syat Surapa Syavadantaka Swarna Haritu Kunakhi Duscharma Guru Talpagaham. Murderers of Brahmanas are later afflicted by tuberculosis. Drunkards become toothless. Those who have stolen gold are afflicted by diseased nails. And sinful men who have sexual connections with the wife of a superior are afflicted by leprosy and similar skin diseases. End of the purport. Santiya sadavaloke durmaitras chadma Vaishanaha tesham udet agam kale roga patakinam ivam. In due course of time, various types of diseases are manifest in those who are sinful. Similarly, in this world, there are many deceptive friends in false garbs, but eventually, because of their false behavior, their actual enmity becomes manifest. So this is preaching of Hiranyakashipu, and he is very unhappy with Sri Prahlad Maharaj's adherence to Bhakti, devotional service. And interesting, he says, Santi Hyasadavaloke. In this world, those who are asadhu, dishonest people, sadhu means honest. Sadbhave sadubhavecha. Bhagavad Gita says that these natures are connected. The word sadhu comes from the word sat. One who is spiritually motivated, one who is on the path of eternal benefit. But even though there can be no greater sadhu than Prahlad Maharaj, Hiranyakashipu is calling him asadhu. This is very interesting, but this is the perverted perception of materialistic people or demoniac people. Bhagavad Gita chapter 18 verse 32 explains how this is happening. It says, Adharmam dharma mitiya manyate tapas tamasa vrita sarvartan viparitamscha buddhi saparta tamasi. He says, the understanding which considers irreligion to be religion and religion to be irreligion under the spell of illusion and darkness and strives always in the wrong direction, Oparta is in the mode of ignorance. So it's ignorant, demoniac understanding that they see good as bad and bad as good, wrong as right and right as wrong. So Hiranyakashipu perceives Prahlad Maharaj as asadhu, because sadhu is the one who worships the Supreme Lord, and asadhu is the one who doesn't worship the Supreme Lord. And it's very clear, the scriptures are very clear about that. But because Hiranyakashipu was considering himself to be the Supreme Lord, he was very upset that Prahlad was not worshipping him. So he was considering Prahlad to be asadhu because he refused to become his devotee. And naturally Hiranyakashipu was expecting that Prahlad would become his devotee, being his son. But suddenly he discovered that he became a devotee of his sworn enemy, Vishnu. And that's why he is so upset, and he defines Prahlad as asadhu. And he said he indirectly accuses Prahlad as being Durmaitra. Maitra of course is friend, and Durmaitra is one who pretends to be friend, right? False friend, cheating friend. So, because Prahlad is so gentle and so obedient, it's very interesting that even though Prahlad didn't believe in all this demoniac philosophy, but because his father sent him to school, he went to school. So he was very gentle and well behaved and always happy. So Hiranyakashipu was thinking he is very friendly towards me and he will do whatever I tell him to do. But then he discovered, no, Prahlad has his own program, which is very different, opposite to his program. And so he says that Prahlad is Durmaitra, Chalaveshina. Chalaveshina means being in a false dress. So he was supposed to be demon, but then he was not a demon. So Hiranyakashipu felt himself very much cheated by Prahlad Maharaj. And he makes very interesting statements. He says, Tesham udet agham kale. The reaction of sinful life in due course of time naturally will come. in the same way as roga patakinamiva, that as disease manifests in sinful man. So very interesting. He uses that analogy. Normally, those people who have high level of charisma, they use different analogies and similes like that. So Hiranyakashipu is very charismatic leader. Unfortunately, it's a wrong charisma. It's very interesting. It's also been studied that there is a phenomenon which is called dark charisma, as opposed to, positive charisma, that some people are extremely charismatic, but unfortunately they are demoniac. And we have seen this kind of, personalities like Hiranyakashipu in the modern history of the world as well, who are inspiring other demoniac people to follow them, so they become their heroes for some time until they themselves become zeros. They pose themselves as heroes. And so, yes, as very charismatic personality, he's using all these analogies. He says, disease manifests in a sinful person. And so, interestingly enough, Srila Prabhupada supports that statement in a purport. He says, yeah, it's true that disease is the symptom of the body of a sinful person. And to discuss a little doubt in this regard, do we ever hear of Hiranyakashipu being diseased in his life? No, not even cold, not even sneeze, right? His health was so perfect. Nothing could damage his health, Even the thunderbolt of Indra could not damage his health. Even his, ongoing drinking habit could not damage his health. Can you imagine having such a strong health that, in our terms, Hiranyakashipu would be considered to be alcoholic, right? Because it's described that he's been always so drunk that his eyes were rolling in their circuits. Even that didn't damage his health. So, but because his health was so perfect, doesn't mean he was saintly and completely sinless. How come that he was so healthy without any trace of disease? And Prabhupada says, disease is the symptom of a body of a sinful person. So does it mean Hiranyakashipu was saintly or sinless? Of course, we know how he was murdering and plundering and doing all kinds of sinful activities. Was never affected by any disease. Of course, towards the end, he suffered disembowelment. He lost all his bowels together with the heart. So he had bowels and heart problem. So anyone who is in the material world will definitely be affected by birth, death, old age and disease. So for him, disease, old age and death came almost at the same time. But during his lifetime, we can see he was very healthy. And so, but there are different types of diseases. And what is the worst type of disease Everyone is suffering in the material world. What is the fundamental disease? Everyone is suffering in the material world. What Srila Prabhupada was defining it? How? Skin disease, identifying with the body. So, definitely, Hiranyakashipu was suffering from skin disease, and this is, it's very interesting word, right? Ease means being relaxed, and these means, basically suffering. So disease means the condition which makes one suffer. And Hiranyakashipu, interestingly enough, despite of his perfect health, despite of his wealth, he gained everything modern people can dream of. Perfect health, unlimited wealth, full power, right? Fame, universal fame. He had it all. And it was supposed to make him happy. But was he ever happy? No. The very, fact that he was always drunk indicated that he was always suffering. Because if someone is deprived of the association with the source of happiness, and who is the source of happiness? Krishna, right? So Krishna is Anandamayo Bhyasat. No matter what, the person can't be happy. And at the same time, he had someone who was his own son and didn't have all these advantages, and yet he was so happy, Prahlad. So it's very interesting that, 7th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam is describing the science of God, and this is the prime story, that this story takes almost entire canto, with little exception at the end of Narad Muni's instructions. And the story shows the contrast between two personalities. One is extremely materialistic, and the one who is extremely devotional, Hiranyakashipu and Prahlad. And materialism means two things, Hiranya plus Kashipu, right? Hiranya means gold. And gold stands not only for wealth, but for power and fame also. Because this world has one rule which is defined as golden rule. Anyone heard of golden rule? Of course, this interpretation of the golden rule is a little bit unusual, but it says that golden rule means one who has gold rules everything, right? So, and Hiranyakashipu definitely had golden rule in his hand. He had so much wealth, he was ruling everyone and everything. So, gold stands for everything which brings sense gratification. So Hiranyakashipu had opportunity to gratify his senses unlimitedly, and this was the only thing he was interested in. Hiranya. And Kashipu of course means soft bed, and beds are used for two purposes, sleep and sex, right? So this was Hiranyakashipu's simple program, right? Control and enjoy to the max, as much as you can. And yet he was not happy. He was always miserable. And Prahlad, as his name indicates, Prakrishta Rupena Hlad, right? that the prefix pra in Sanskrit intensifies the meaning of the word. And the root of the name is Hlada. And of course we know what is Hlada. Hladnini Shakti Shrimati Radharani is the energy of pleasure of the Lord. So Hlada means pleasure, enjoyment, happiness. Interestingly enough, one meaning of the word Hlada means cool. So Prahlad was extremely cool personality, despite of any, problems Hiranyakashipu was creating. He remained cool. Someone made a comment that Srila Prabhupada was also extremely cool in any circumstances. So someone was asking, why Srila Prabhupada was so cool all the time? And someone came up with the answer, because he is A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. So, of course, in India, everyone loves A.C. so much because it's tropical country. So I suppose this is where Hlada came from, right? That cool and joy, they kind of, defined by the same word. Sometimes I'm surprised while traveling in India how much local people love AC. It's unbelievable. I mean, they're supposed to love AC Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada as well. But even regular AC, they're so much attached to. I remember one time traveling on the train in AC coach, and AC was working to such a extent that we were freezing, and we were wearing, all the sweaters and hats and everything warm, chadars we had, and we were still freezing. And I went to the coach attendant and I said, is it possible to reduce the AC a little bit? It's really cold. And he looked at me in disbelief. He said, reduce AC? No, we cannot. I was thinking maybe there is some technical difficulty. I said, what's the problem? Why can't we reduce AC? He said, because it is fully paid for. It's very interesting logic. If you pay for something, you have to suffer it also. So what to do? We had to go out of the AC coach to get warm a little bit and then come in again. Anyway, the concept of cool and joy kind of go together, at least in Bharat. Anyway, this is Prahlad. And Hlada, it's very interesting, because I come from Russia originally, and there are plenty of Russian words with exactly same meaning, like in Sanskrit, and a bit of learning of Russian for all of you. Prahlada in Russian language means cool. Exactly same meaning as in Sanskrit. And so, he had this amazing son who was so happy. Prahlada, he was so blissful that even the assassination attempts from his father could not upset him. And actually it's been described how he managed. Of course, that's going to be coming in future. This chapter only describes the beginning of that, problem. Hiranyakashipu just discovered in this chapter that Prahlad is actually not his devotee, but devotee of his sworn enemy. And he, of course, is very upset. And after unsuccessful attempts to reprogram him, Hiranyakashipu became so angry that he tried to kill him in so many ways. But Prahlad Maharaj was not unhappy even about that. I mean, just imagine a little boy goes through such experiences. Most likely, his entire life, he would be suffering what they call it, PTD, right? Post-traumatic disorders, right? Because it would be such a trauma. But we never hear Prahlad Maharaj, suffering from that or going to any psychiatrist for, help or whatever. It didn't affect him the least, which is unbelievable. So Acharyas are actually explaining how this is happening, that Prahlad perceived all this as pastime. He didn't take it seriously. Even though he knew his father is trying to kill him, but he didn't bother about it. It didn't bother him at all. Well, first of all, because being an exalted devotee, he was not identifying himself with the body in the first place. And second, because he was so much focused on Krishna. And so his calculation was simple. Okay, my father is trying to kill me. There are two options. He might succeed or he might fail, depending on the Lord's plan. So if he succeeds, well and good. I will leave this demoniac environment, demoniac association, and I will see Krishna face to face. I will be with Krishna. So he was happy. Or if my father fails, he will become more Krishna conscious, which is also great. So whichever option, he was happy about it, and he didn't care. He was completely detached from the outcome. This is how devotee is. If you focus on Krishna, then the duality of this world completely disappears. And whatever is happening, you will perceive it as Krishna's mercy, as Prabhupada's describing. Yeah. And as Bhagavad Gita stresses in many, many verses, one of the first ones to talk on the topic is 256. Dukkesha anudigna manaha, sukkeshu vigatas priha, vitaraga bhaya krodha, stita dirmunya ruchyate. So one who is not upset with problems, and one who is not elated in happiness, and one who is freed from attachment, fear, and anger is called the sage of steady mind. So, and Prahlad is amazing example of that. But this verse specifically, we study the character of Hiranyakashipu, and Hiranyakashipu was totally opposite, right? That despite of all the conditions for enjoyment, he was still suffering, and he was thinking in terms of friends and enemies, and even his own son, his best well-wisher, he was perceiving him as cheating friend and dishonest person. So he was perceiving his best well-wisher as the worst person. So that was his distorted mentality. Even though Prahlad Maharaj was really the one thanks to whom Hiranyakashipu gained all benefits, right? Of course, it's very funny pastime if you think about it, because jumping ahead, how Prahlad Maharaj was challenged by Hiranyakashipu. You always talk about this entity who is more powerful than me, and where is him? Where is your God? And Prahlad says, God is everywhere. If he is everywhere, does it mean he is in that pillar? Yes, he is also in that pillar. And then Hiranyakashipu says, if he is here, I want to see him. So he clearly expresses his desire, his wish. And Krishna is the one who is fulfilling everybody's desires. Eko bhavanam yovidadati kaman. And then what next? Hiranyakashipu just bangs with his fist on the pillar, right? If he's here, I want to see him. Bang, bang, bang. And if someone bangs at your door, what do you do? First of all, you ask who is there, right? This is what happened. That he heard a roar. In lion's language, it was, who is that? Who is banging? I'm in the pillar. Who is banging my pillar? So that was the roar, the meaning of the roar. And Hiranyakashipu jumped back. Someone is actually there. And just to help him, okay, someone's banging at your door, you're asking who is there, but there is no response. What do? You open the door, right? But the pillar didn't have the door, so Nrsingadev had to, destroy the pillar to come out, to introduce himself. Okay, I'm here. Like that. So by the mercy of Prahlad Maharaj, Hiranyakashipu developed enough inspiration to want to see the Supreme Lord, and he actually got direct darshan of the Supreme Lord. And moreover, he was liberated by the mercy of Prahlad Maharaj. And how traditionally one can be liberated? By the chanting of the holy names. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. But chanting of the holy names is especially power if it is happening at the moment of death. Then it's, very high level guarantee that one goes to Krishna. But of course, Hiranyakashipu was not so inclined to chant the holy name, especially with love or devotion. So he was the least interested to practice chanting the holy name in a proper way. And Prahlad Maharaj, of course, wanted him to chant the holy name, especially at the time of death. And when the time of death had arrived, when Hiranyakashipu went on Nrsingadev's lap, and Nrsingadev kind of started sticking his nail inside of him. And at that point, there is one description in Hari Bhakti Shuddhadoy, which is part of Naradiya Purana. It's described that Hiranyakashipu realized that that's it, game is over. And the whole pastime, of course, is really hilarious how, Hiranyakashipu kept attacking Nrsingadev, despite of Nrsingadev being so much bigger and having so much more hands and weapons that Hiranyakashipu, and still he foolishly continued attacking Nrsingadev, even though he was just playing with him, right? Like the cat plays with the mouse. before killing the mouse, throws the mouse here and there. So this is what Nrsingadev was doing with Hiranyakashipu, throwing him against this wall, against that pillar. And Hiranyakashipu would faint for a while and then come back and again charge at the Lord. And so, of course, Nrsingadev was enjoying the game and roaring and showing that he was very, angry. But actually it was a pleasure for him. But anyone remembers how Hiranyakashipu was defeated even before he went on Nrsingadev's lap? Anyone remembers that point? What was the subtle weapon Nrsingadev used to paralyze Hiranyakashipu? Anyone remembers? The weapon was Nrsingadev's laughter. Nrsingadev laughed at Hiranyakashipu. But his laughter was so loud, Bhagavatam describes, and so deafening that Hiranyakashipu had to block his ears, and he was so frightened, he closed his eyes. And even in that condition, he tried to do something to fight. Of course, this was ridiculous. And then after that, Nrsingadev placed him on the lap, etc. And as Radhanath Maharaj likes to say, performed the first heart surgery in the history of the universe. So, and of course, we can safely assume why Nrsingadev was laughing in the middle of the fight, because it was so ridiculous that, Hiranyakashipu, the guy is so small, but his false ego is so big. He was still thinking he has at least one chance to defeat Nrsingadev. And for Nrsingadev, it was hilarious. It's amazing how he can think like that. And when he placed him on the lap, and Hiranyakashipu realized that's it. And Hari Bhakti Shuddhadaya describes what he was actually shouting on the lap. He was shouting, "Mommy! Mommy!" And Prahlad Maharaj was standing next to him, and he couldn't believe. He said, "What are you doing? What are you chanting, Mommy, Mommy?" Whatever you focused on, this is where you're going to be going, right? Yam yam apismaran bhavam tenjan antekalavaram. And you focus yourself on Mommy, just guess where you're going to be going, right? Back to Mommy. In the womb of another mother. And funny enough, the statistics say that oftentimes, warriors, soldiers on the battlefield, when they are about to die, these are their last words, "Mommy." So Hiranyakashipu was not an exception to that. But Prahlad Maharaj was not happy with that. He said, "Why are you chanting Mommy, Mommy? You should be chanting Govinda, Govinda, Govinda." And then Hiranyakashipu left his body while Prahlad Maharaj was chanting for him. So all these, all these facts are clearly indicating that Prahlad Maharaj was the best friend and well-wisher of Hiranyakashipu. Despite all atrocities, Prahlad Maharaj continued showering his blessings upon his father, not because he was his father, but because this is how Vaishnavas are. Vaishnavas are benefactors. Anyway, Vaishnavas, they want to benefit everyone, right? And whoever is in the close proximity. So very clearly, Hiranyakashipu's perception is totally illusory of Prahlad Maharaj, because he is in Maya. He is very heavily diseased with the skin disease, but Prahlad Maharaj, playing the role of GP, general practitioner, is diagnosing him and will have to send him for heart surgery to cure him of this disease. Eventually, after everything else failed, there had to be open heart surgery on Hiranyakashipu to free him from all this disease. So these are few thoughts on the subject, and if anyone has any comments, suggestions, complaints, corrections, maybe questions, you're welcome to share whatever you think about the subject. But thank you for the opportunity to discuss this, because this canto is really important one, because it's teaching us unlimited important lessons of bhakti. Yeah, please, can you pass the microphone?
I do have a practical question here. Yeah, hello, sir. So one of the things that you said in the beginning was, when I joined the lecture, was about the false friend that you were talking about. Now, my question is related to the practical life that we deal with. We deal with these kind of people a lot. And sometimes it's not possible to disassociate yourself with them, because they're working with you probably in the office and everything. How do we deal with that?
Yeah, well, in the concept of friends in the material world is very different from spiritual concept of friends, because spiritual friendship means one represents Krishna, and pretty much everybody represents Krishna, because everybody is instrument in Krishna's hands. It is described in Chaitanya Hare Krishna, Ekalaishvara Krishna Arasa Babritya, Yare Yaicha Yetandre Savandritya, that Krishna is the only Supreme Lord, and everyone else is his servant, and everybody is dancing as Krishna wants them to dance. So everyone is just an instrument in Krishna's hands. And for this reason, devotee perceives everyone in a friendly way. And devotee does not have any enmity or any negativity towards anyone, because devotee knows that no living entity is independent. Every living entity is only an instrument in the Lord's hands. So this is spiritual concept of friendship, that we treat everyone in a friendly way, and we are ready to be friends with anyone except those who are not willing to be friends with us, right? Like it's been described about Madhyamadikari, or advanced devotee on the intermediate level, that he loves the Supreme Lord. He is friendly with all the devotees. He is compassionate towards those who are bereft of Krishna consciousness. And demonic people, he's just avoiding, right? It's not that he doesn't like to be friends with demonic people, but demonic people don't want to deal with devotees, so devotee respects their choice, and that's why he doesn't, associate with him. He just stays away. Okay, the guy has bad day, what to do? Let him, sort out his life. He doesn't want me to be in his proximity. So yes, that our attitude towards others, that we either want to help, or if the person chooses, we agree not to interfere in his life, right? So, but material friendship is very different. Material friendship is not based on spiritual values, it's based on sense gratification. That I am friend with someone because we share the same type of sense gratification together. And once sense gratification becomes either unavailable or there is scarcity of sense gratification, oftentimes the same friends become the worst enemies, because they had plenty of sense gratification, they didn't have to compete with each other, so they were friends. Once sense gratification reduces, they start competing and they become enemies, like that. So yeah, material life means love turns into hate in no time, and friendship turns into enmity in no time as well, because in the first place it was neither love nor friendship. It was all illusion, right? So that's why, and why, because I'm kind of specializing in conflict resolution, it says that any conflict, no matter the scale or the situation, always has two causes. First cause is false expectation, that frustrated expectation. I wanted him or her or them to be like that, but they frustrated my expectations, so that's the conflict, right? And second is false perception. So both are based on Maya, on falsity. And that's even not to our, these are not even our definitions, these are professional definitions, right? Of causes of conflict. So, yeah, we should never be friends like that, expecting sense gratification from people. Devotee should be detached. Detachment is really important feature of Bhakti, and it doesn't even matter whether we are Vairagi or Grihastha. Even in Grihastha life, detachment or renunciation is really important, right? Because, if even in family life, if everyone is focused on sense gratification, there will always be conflicts. So even in family life, everyone has to give up things he or she likes for the sake of benefiting others. Even women. Sometimes I'm thinking, it's for most men, it's hard to imagine the level of detachment or renunciation a young mother has, because children, they disrupt everything in mother's life for the first at least couple of years, right? And so to give up even such basic things as regular eating and sleeping and everything else, that's pretty high level of renunciation. So yeah, renunciation is the main quality of proper or decent human being, and that's why it's important to develop it, regardless of our social or spiritual position. So yeah, in friendship we should be also renounced. Renounced means we are, giving, but we're not expecting anything back. And how that is possible? If we expect only from Krishna, we understand. It's Krishna who is looking after me, it's Krishna who is providing me, it's Krishna who is protecting me. So if we are connected to Krishna, we can afford only giving without worrying whether it will come back or not. If Krishna wants, it will come back. If not, okay, that's also good. Hare Krishna.
Maharaj, I had one question. Like before this, how Sanda Amarka were teaching Prahlad Maharaj about who is enemy, who is friend. So, but Prahlad Maharaj was beyond friend and enemy. He was saying everybody was his part and parcel of God. So, now this is a vision of Mahabhagavat, where he sees everyone is a part and parcel of Krishna. So, in our stage, whether it is just mental adjustment, because Prabhupada always says about skin disease. Like, I am American, I am Indian, I am this and that. So, like, neophyte stage, it is just to think or maybe understand on a theoretical level, because it has to be a very advanced level. That's why they are saying it's a Uttamadhikari who sees, that's a level of where he's able to see it's a part and parcel of God. So, in our level, how it is where we see, there is conflict between the two communities, nations. So, there is always how the neophyte devotee sees.
Yes, very good question. It says practice makes one perfect, right? And there is a good reason why Srila Prabhupada sacrificed, so many years and so much time, including his night's sleep, to give us all these books with his purpose. Because if it would be sufficient just to chant Hare Krishna mantra for attaining perfection, we would not even need Shastra, right? Everything would happen automatically, but holy name is Krishna, and Krishna is fulfilling everybody's desire. And that's why if someone wants to enjoy and control, and this person would be chanting Hare Krishna mantra, he could be gaining those goals as well. Not necessarily that everyone who is chanting Hare Krishna will advance spiritually. One might degrade as well, depending on one's mentality. And that's why Sadhu Sangha is so important. And, Prabhupada books are giving us the best Sadhu Sangha, because Prabhupada said, the best of me is in my books. So that's why it is important to consciously move ourselves in that direction, as Shastra's advise. And there is a very good instruction from Padma Purana. It is quoted in Nectar of Devotion about how devotee reacts to adversities, how devotees are supposed to react to adverse circumstances in his life. And so Padma Purana recommends, or Nectar of Devotion recommends, that instead of becoming angry or frustrated, one should think of Krishna, because Krishna can never be manifested in the heart of someone who is affected by anger or fear. Interesting that fear and anger, they are kind of so closely connected. Actually, these are the two sides of the same coin, anger and fear, right? That's why they always go together, fear and anger. Vitaraga bhaya krodha, right? And so, of course, it does not mean think of Krishna artificially. I am in trouble and Krishna is enjoying, his pastimes. I might become even envious of Krishna if I think like that, He is the source of everything. He puts me in trouble and then he goes on to enjoy his life. No, that we should not think of Krishna artificially in this sense, but we should think of Krishna in connection to my situation. And Prabhupada describes, he gives very effective practical advice or explanation how devotee is unaffected by the troubles in his life. Because devotee perceive every trouble as, anyone remembers? as what? As mercy of Krishna. So this is what we should practice. And it is highly recommended, this is first thing I'm stressing. If anyone wants to resolve all inner conflicts, which are very common in Kali Yuga, unfortunately, because Kali Yuga is defined as age of quarrel and hypocrisy. And in my mind, this definition translates in a very simple way. If you're not in quarrel with anyone, then your peaceful attitude towards the person might be hypocritical. Right? So quarrels and hypocrisy, people are so, frustrated in Kali Yuga. But then, if we focus on Krishna, and if we understand that trouble is also Krishna's mercy, we can advance not despite of trouble, but thanks to troubles, interestingly enough. Because if you perceive trouble as Krishna's mercy, which is not artificial kind of speculation, it is real thing, because troubles are always Krishna's mercy. Why? Because they help us in so many ways. And, if we would have more time, we could even analyze how it's happening. And then, if trouble continues, if you see it as Krishna's mercy, you are happy with it. If trouble goes away, okay, it's also Krishna's mercy. So you become detached from the situation, from troublesome situation. And you can be happy regardless of if situation is good or bad, which is the first, you can say, installment of Krishna consciousness, because the first sign of Bhakti, as it is described in the beginning of Nectar of the Ocean, is Kleshagni, right? That freedom from miseries. Does it mean if you start chanting Hare Krishna, there will be not a single misery in your life? No, it doesn't mean that, because we see even great devotees, right? It's interesting. The greater the devotee is, the more miseries are there, despite of all the practices and chanting. But one who is Krishna conscious is not affected by the miseries. And so this is the technology behind it, how one can afford being unaffected. I hope that's answering the question. So, but I think we should be finishing. Now, if there are more questions, of course, I'm happy to individually answer them, but otherwise, let's finish this class. Thank you all very much for your kind attention and genuine interest for the topic. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Let us thank Maharaj for giving your association. And when we request Maharaj, whenever you come to Pune, please do come here and do your association. So let us thank Maharaj by chanting one time Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Thank you, Maharaj.
Thank you.